Quinn thought walking away from the hotel contract would feel like freedom. It didn't. It felt like failure. By Monday morning, the news had already spread through the local business community. Mercer Woodworks had turned down a contract worth $2.4 million. People couldn't understand it. Some thought Quinn was arrogant. Others thought he was inexperienced. One supplier called him directly. "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" Quinn forced a laugh. "I'm sure enough." But after hanging up, he stared at the workshop floor for almost a minute. He wasn't sure at all. The first problem arrived on Tuesday. A major equipment supplier called. Because the hotel project had disappeared, Quinn had postponed his planned machinery purchase. That meant the supplier's discount was gone. The new price was nearly 18% higher. Then another problem appeared. One of his largest customers delayed payment. Then another. Within 2 weeks, Quinn's comfortable cash position had become uncomfortable, then dangerous. His accountant placed a spreadsheet in front of him. "How long can we operate like this?" Quinn looked at the numbers. "If nothing improves, 3 months." He swallowed. "And if something goes wrong?" She didn't answer. She didn't need to. At the workshop, the mood changed. Overtime disappeared. New equipment was postponed. Quinn stopped replacing small things that could still be repaired. One afternoon, Leo approached him. "I need to ask you something." Quinn looked up. "What's up?" "Did we make a mistake?" The question hurt. "Why?" "Because we're struggling now." Leo pointed toward the empty production floor. That hotel project would have kept everyone busy for years. Quinn looked around. 14 people depended on the decisions he made. He had told himself he was protecting the company's reputation. But what if he'd simply thrown away its future? "I don't know," Quinn admitted. It was the first time he'd said it aloud. Then the layoffs began, not at Mercer Woodworks. Across town, the hotel project was suddenly facing problems, construction delays, cost overruns. Investors were questioning the timeline. The project that had looked unstoppable 3 months earlier was slowing down. Quinn heard about it from Walter. "They're cutting suppliers." Quinn frowned. "Already?" Walter nodded. "Some haven't been paid." "How many?" "Enough." Quinn said nothing. He felt relief. Then guilt for feeling relieved. The contract he'd rejected was beginning to collapse, but his own company was still struggling. 3 weeks later, Quinn received an unexpected email. It was from one of the suppliers he'd contacted during his investigation. The message contained only a newspaper article. Quinn opened it. The headline made his stomach tighten. "Major hotel development suspends expansion plans." Below it was a list of affected contractors and suppliers. Several were owed hundreds of thousands of dollars. One small furniture company had already closed. Another was selling equipment to cover payroll. Quinn leaned back. He remembered the executive's voice. "You'll have nothing to worry about." Now, he understood. The contract hadn't been a $2.4 million opportunity. It had been a $2.4 million exposure. Revenue and cash were not the same thing. A giant contract could make a company look wealthy while quietly draining it from the inside. That afternoon, Quinn called his accountant. "How bad is our position?" She opened the latest report. "Bad." He waited. "But not critical." "What's the difference?" She smiled faintly. "We still have cash." "How?" "Because you didn't spend money preparing for a contract that never happened." Quinn looked at the workshop. The new machinery they'd planned to purchase was still on hold. The larger building they'd considered leasing was still available. For the first time, he realized something. Saying no hadn't made him successful. It had simply preserved his ability to make another decision. That mattered. The next morning, a small restaurant owner named Marcus walked into the workshop. He had heard about Quinn through a mutual supplier. "I need 20 tables." Quinn nodded. "What's your budget?" Marcus gave him a number. It wasn't impressive, not even close to the hotel contract, but Marcus was straightforward. He explained exactly what he needed. He didn't ask Quinn to cut corners. He didn't demand impossible deadlines. And when Quinn gave him a price, Marcus didn't immediately ask for a discount. "When can you start?" "Monday." "Good." He shook Quinn's hand. "I'll pay the deposit today." Quinn watched him leave. 20 tables, one small restaurant. A modest order, yet something about the transaction felt different. There was no pressure, no games, no hidden clause, just two people agreeing on what each would do. Over the next month, Marcus introduced Quinn to 2 other restaurant owners. One needed counters, another needed chairs. Then an architect contacted Quinn, then a hotel designer. Not the same hotel group. A completely different company. The orders weren't enormous, but they were profitable. More importantly, they paid on time. Quinn began rebuilding slowly. He stopped chasing the biggest possible customer. Instead, he started looking for the right customer. And that distinction changed everything. One Friday evening, Quinn sat alone in his workshop. The lights were almost off. He opened his notebook and wrote two numbers, $2.4 million. Then, underneath it, $180,000. The first number was the contract he'd rejected. The second represented the total value of the smaller clients he'd gained since. The difference was enormous. But something surprised him. The smaller customers had already generated more cash profit than the hotel proposal would have in its first year. And there was another advantage. They trusted him. They paid on time. They referred others. They didn't constantly renegotiate. They didn't consume hours of management attention. Quinn finally understood the lesson. A good customer doesn't just bring revenue. A good customer reduces risk. That night, as he locked the workshop, his phone rang. It was Marcus. "I've got someone you need to meet." "Who?" "A restaurant group opening 6 locations." Quinn smiled. "How big is the order?" Marcus laughed. "Big enough that you'll want to sit down." Quinn looked back at the dark workshop. 6 months earlier, he had believed one massive contract could save his company. Now he was beginning to discover something else. Sometimes the safest path to wealth isn't finding one enormous opportunity. It's building 10 smaller relationships with people you can trust. But Marcus had one more thing to tell him. "There's a catch." Quinn stopped walking. "What catch?" "The owner wants to meet you tomorrow." "Why?" A pause. "He says he's heard about the hotel deal you walked away from." Quinn's smile disappeared. Because suddenly, the deal he thought he'd lost might be the reason someone else wanted to do business with him. If you found this story valuable, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you care about.